Everyone, welcome back to the Analytics Pod, where we dive into all things data analytics. Today we are heading into the world of data ethics and privacy. So grab your favorite snack, settle in, and let's unravel the fundamentals of staying ethical and respecting privacy in this data-driven age. Have you ever gotten those weirdly specific ads on your phone that makes you wonder, are my apps eavesdropping on me? It's a little creepy, right? Well, the creepy feeling is the tip of the iceberg in data ethics and privacy. Data ethics refers to the principles and guidelines that govern how we collect, use, and share data responsibly. Data privacy is all about ensuring that people have control over how their personal information is collected and used. In short, it's the difference between saying, hey, can I borrow your phone for a quick call, and just snatching it out of someone's hand and browsing through their text messages. It's a big difference, right? We've all heard the phrase, treat others the way you want to be treated. Well, guess what? The same applies to data. If you don't want your own personal details shared without your consent, you shouldn't do it to someone else's. It's like being the friend who always asks before posting group selfies on social media. You have to check to make sure everyone's comfortable first. So here's a quick definition of personal data. Personal data is anything that can identify a person, like their name, email address, phone number, or even location data, counts as personal data. If you're analyzing information that might tie back to a specific individual, you need to respect boundaries, follow the law, and get proper permission when necessary. So when talking about data ethics and privacy, think about these four main pillars: consent, transparency, minimization, and security. So let's start with consent. You want to make sure that your users or customers are fully aware of what data you are collecting and why. For example, if you're collecting email addresses to send a monthly newsletter, don't also sneakily use those emails to bombard people with daily promotional offers for something totally unrelated. Transparency. Don't hide your data usage behind walls of legal jargon that's so complicated that even a lawyer wouldn't understand. A straightforward privacy policy goes a long way in building trust. Just think about how you like to be spoken to. Plain, simple language is usually what wins people over. Next is minimization. Only collect what you actually need. If you're analyzing customer behavior on an e-commerce site, maybe you don't need to store their birth date or their pet's name or their favorite ice cream flavor. Less data collected often means less risk if there's ever a data breach. And the last one is security. Make sure the data you do collect is protected. Encrypt it, limit access, and keep it locked down like your grandma's cookie recipe. Because once a leak happens, there's no unleaking it. And now we're going to hop into some data privacy laws and regulations. And yes, there are actual laws around this stuff. So it's not just about being a nice person. Some of the big ones you might have heard about: GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation in the European Union; CCPA, the California Consumer Privacy Act in California; and HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act for healthcare in the US. If you're collecting someone's personal data from folks in these regions, you have to comply. That can mean giving users the option to opt out of data collection, letting them request deletion of the data, or offering them easy ways to see what info you actually have about them. Even if you're not based in Europe, for example, the moment you start collecting data from an EU citizen, you could be under GDPR. It's like having a passport stamp. Once you cross the border, you play by that country's rules. So now we get into some common ethical dilemmas. You might be thinking, well, I'm just a data analyst, not an evil mastermind. But even if your intentions are pure, there are plenty of gray areas. And here are some typical dilemmas. Data sharing versus confidentiality. Your marketing team wants you to share user data so they can pump out targeted campaigns. But do you have the user's permission to share that data beyond the original purpose? Number 2, anonymization woes. You might remove names and addresses from the dataset, but advanced analytics can sometimes re-identify people. It's like those detective movies where someone leaves behind a single thread of fabric and they solve the entire case just like that. And the next one is bias in algorithms. If your dataset isn't diverse, your model might give skewed results. Imagine a facial recognition tool trained mostly on pictures of people wearing sunglasses. It might misread people without glasses. We have to be careful to avoid discrimination or unfair decisions based on incomplete data. Of course, there are best practices for staying ethical and compliant, and you're probably asking yourself, how do I actually avoid the pitfalls and actually remain a good data citizen? So number 1, ask for permission the right way. Whether it's a pop-up consent form or a sign-up checkbox, ensure it's user-friendly and clear, no sneaky tactics. Number 2 is limit access. Not everyone in your company needs access to the entire database. Keep a need-to-know policy. because if someone doesn't need that data, why risk it? Number 3 is keep up with legislation. Laws around data privacy aren't a static thing, they evolve. So subscribe to some newsletters, follow relevant blogs, or get Google alerts. Knowledge is power and protection from hefty fines. Number 4 is document everything. Keep records of how you obtained consent, when it was given, and for what purpose. If regulators come knocking, you'll thank your past self for being so organized. Number 5, foster a culture of ethics. In your company or team, encourage open discussions about privacy and ethics. When the entire team is aware and aligned, mistakes are less likely to happen. So that's the scoop on data ethics and privacy fundamentals. At the end of the day, it's about treating people and their data with respect, being transparent, and knowing the rules of the game. Whether you're a budding data analyst or an experienced pro, remember that an ethical approach not only saves you from legal headaches, but also builds trust and credibility. Trust is like gold in the data world. We hope you found this little dive into data ethics super helpful and maybe a little bit entertaining. If you like what you heard, give this video a thumbs up. And if you want some more insightful episodes on data analytics, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell notification. Thanks for tuning into the Analytics Pod. Until next time, stay curious, stay ethical, and keep exploring that data. See ya.